come down. If you are educated, you will be aware of yourself and how to protect yourself, right? You will not go for any date with somebody whom you don't know. You will not go in a crowd where you know that girls have been raped there. So if you are aware of, you will be aware if somebody is touching you somewhere in a wrong place, you don't know. So you will be aware. So if this education is given, it's really going to be of great help.
The last question is any message to youngsters, any message to our generation regarding this particular topic?
I don't say the young generation should not have sex. That's one thing is against me, against my thought. Sex is quite natural. It's like anybody having a driver's license and telling him not to drive a car. It's like that. So I won't say that. What I would say is to follow ABC. First of all, abstain yourself from having peno-vaginal intercourse. Okay? If you are having it, you be faithful to your partner, be committed to the same partner. Both, it applies to both. And if you're not being faithful, and if you still want to have multiple partners, use a condom. ABC is my message to the young generations.
Thank you very much, sir. The PPTs and your presentation was really very fascinating. Thank you for your presence. Thanks.
Sir, can I take?
Thank you. Yeah. Hi, this is Ashok Jain. I'm the Group MD and CEO of Lifespan. We are a chain of diabetic clinics in India. We are the world's largest chain of diabetic clinics.
Okay, so first of all, sir, I would like to ask you a question as in, at the pace with which our world is moving right now, do you think a world without diabetes is possible?
You always need to dream. Possibilities will happen. If you agree with it and if you live the status quo as it is, then we'll become even worse. So therefore, I would dream that there would be a world one day without diabetes.
Okay, sir. So what would you advise the youth of today? What would you advise the youth of today to help prevent diabetes?
First of all, they need to understand the implication of diabetes. They need to understand that there is something called diabetes which will strike them one day or very soon. And therefore, take precautions, live a different lifestyle, change their lifestyle, understand how to prevent it.
Okay, that's about. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you.
I would like to ask some questions. My first question, what do you think, how successful Make in India campaign for pharma sector?
I mean, India has been already big in pharma on the generics, as you know, right? The establishments in pharma manufacturings are fantastic in India. Make in India campaign with the new regulations of inviting foreign investments into India to set up 100% ownership pharma manufacturing setups will be a great success. First of all, we have a captive market in India. The population of India is huge. Need for drugs is big. So if you are going to bring quality manufacturing into India, if you are going to bring innovation into India, that's going to benefit. And I think the government is taking the right step.
So, according to you, what step our government to take? Our government what step to take for pharma sector to? Sorry, sir. Yeah. What can be done by our government to make healthcare accessible in rural sector?
See, first of all, our government needs to rethink about the investment in healthcare. I've been hearing about the investment plans in healthcare that has to increase. Today, compared to other developing countries in the Asian area, even if you compare China, the percentage of the GDP that we invest in our healthcare is considerably lower. That needs to increase, number one. Number two, now what are we going to do with that money? So we got to set up more and more world-class institutions to provide that healthcare. We got to have standardized procedures to take that healthcare to the people. We need insurance. It's a big question. I mean, there are many things we got to do. If you compare only China and India, I think we are lagging in that area. And I firmly believe that if we take the right steps now, we will be able to very quickly catch up to them.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
To see? Here.
Okay, yeah, both the sides. Ma'am, first of all, welcome to the 7th Annual Pharma Leaders. Can you give a brief introduction about yourself?
Thank you so much for this occasion and inviting me on this platform. Myself is Dr. Ajayita Channa, and I am the CEO of Charak Ayurvedic Panchkarma Clinic, and my clinic is located in Chandigarh, that is in North India, and this is the UT. I hope you all know what Chandigarh is called as the City Beautiful. Yeah.
Ma'am, one question. How does Ayurveda influence, or what is its impact on pharmaceutical industry today? Can you please give me some points?
Yeah. Ayurveda is a much talked traditional system of medicine nowadays, and it has got a huge potential for the pharmaceutical companies as well, because whenever you enter into the market and when you see, like, you know, any doctor is prescribing you any kind of the medicine, the first thing which flashes into your mind, I may have the some side effects, no matter if they are the life-saving drugs also, but still a question comes up. I would take this medicine, but this would end up with the few kinds of the the increase in the side effects in my body too. So when we talk about the herbal medicines or the Ayurvedic medicines, these are the safest medicines, and they do not have any kind of side effect. Rather than they help you to maintain the good health of your all healthy tissues, as well as it just target upon the unhealthy tissue. So that is the biggest beauty of the Ayurvedic medicines or the herbal medicines.
Ma'am, how will the 100% FDI help the Ayurvedic sector?
See, this is a very beautiful question what you have asked me, because whenever we talk about any investment, or whenever we talk about any kind of the helping stratum to the society, at the end we definitely look up to the business sector also, because we have to go back home with some money, take home money in the bags to when you enter your home. So if we talk about, like, you know, the FDI 100%, that policy is there, so definitely we have the loads and loads of the investors, and they can really put in their investments for this for this sector, particularly this Ayurvedic sector or the wellness sector, and thus it increasing the employment, it increasing the benefits. It's a win-win situation to both the company, the investor, as well as who they are withdrawing the benefits from this. So this is a win-win situation for both even for the investor as well as for the end user also.
Ma'am, do you think the homeopathy and Ayurvedic is a competitor to allopathy?
I definitely disagree to this question, because no system of the medicine has it should have the competitive kind of the field. Rather, in my opinion, any pathy, whatever we are using or whatever we are into the practice, our sole motto is to help the society. If we talk about, some gruesome kind of the disease has come up, let's say if somebody has a heart attack, we definitely need to have some kind of the medicine which gives an immediate relief. All right. And at the same time, when the patient we have saved, that is, we have to rely on the allopathy medicine, and when we have saved it, patient. So now the second target, it should be how we have to maintain the healthy life of that person. And there comes the role of Ayurveda. So it can be from allopathy to Ayurveda, or it can be from Ayurveda to allopathy. It wouldn't happen, because Ayurveda itself teaches how you have to maintain a balance between a healthy lifestyle and to stay away from the stress. So if you are a very dedicated kind of a practitioner, what you've been practicing, the herbal medicine, yoga or Ayurveda, definitely your exposure to the chemical based kind of the medicines or the allopathy medicine is very bleak. So from allopathy to Ayurveda, we can definitely improve, but I don't think from Ayurveda we have to go to allopathy.
Ma'am, since Ayurvedic medicines and all are used for face, for whatever is thing, for skincare. So what are the latest trends now in Ayurvedic which will influence the youngsters to use Ayurvedic more rather than using the other chemical based products?
Good question again. See, this year, I was in Vegas. We had a conference in Vegas. That was a conference on cosmetology and trichology, and I was the only one doctor from Ayurveda family, and the rest they were all from the plastic surgeons or the dermatologists. There, I learned one single point. Whenever we are using, this is a very beautiful answer to a very beautiful question, because whenever we are using the anti-aging kind of the injections, like let's say we are using the Botox. You know what the Botox is, right? We are using the PDF fillers, you know what the fillers are. We definitely are making the faces to be the plastic faces. Yes. We lose the expression. We lose the expression, that means we lose the emotion. So we are drifting away from the natural system of the body or the physiology. Yeah, of course, you get a good look, like, you look younger, but you do not have any expression. Now, if we turn on to the other system of the medicine, that is Ayurveda, you have a full expressive face. You have the full expressions, but still you look younger. So probably the good match of Ayurvedic exercises for the facial to stay young, there are many exercises, and to have the certain kind of the antioxidants which are very safe, and they can be used for even in the books it has been written, and that's my personal clinical experience also. If we use like, let's say we are using Triflachuran, this is a very simple medicine, everybody knows it, but the point is there is a great difference between knowing and to implement it. So if you take that and you use that, you definitely stay away from the age, and you do not lose your the expressive expressions, which is I think very natural for being a human being. So that is the major difference, and that's how I always encourage the youngsters to switch over to the Ayurvedic or the herbal medicines.
Ma'am, I would like to ask you, what are the opportunities in the current Ayurvedic sector for the youngsters like us, so that we will be away from the chemicals and try to use a natural material for our skin?
Your question is like, the avenues to stay young through Ayurveda, or the avenues to be more professionally sound in Ayurveda?
To be more professionally sound, as well as it's like, stop using chemicals, and
Okay.
more of Ayurvedic products, that is the natural products.
So as I told you, like, these are the few answers what I gave you in the last question as well. But to add on that, like, I would say, if I repeat the few excerpts of my talk, Government of India is really giving a boost so that you people, the young people, they can really look forward to acquire it as a professional source of livelihood to earn your bread and butter. As well as, when you are practicing it on yourself and you are fully contented, you have a loudness in your voice, and you can really, spread this message to the society. Okay, I'm using the same kind of the regime on myself, and look how do I look? So you are a live role model for the other people, and they can take a good real inspiration, and they can land up into the same kind of the profession by maintaining themselves, keeping themselves away from the age, as well as making a good money, which is again, for a human, it's must, like, you should have a good amount of money in your pocket.
Thank you, ma'am, for the insights. We are looking forward to the more Ayurvedic, medicines coming up.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I was really keen to listen to your talk. I told you, and Satya told me that you're coming, but unfortunately I had to use it off.
Hi, good evening.
We want to know about yourself, so just give us an introduction.
So I'm Dr. Chaitra Anand, CEO and Chief Cosmetic Dermatologist at Cosmoderma Clinics. We're a Bangalore-based company, and we have 7 clinics, 5 in Bangalore, 1 in Hyderabad, and 1 in Chennai. And what we do is basically cosmetic dermatology, trichology, and cosmetic surgery. And the whole basis of Cosmoderma is to bring international standards and to bring standardization and regulate cosmetic industry here.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah. Okay, ma'am. See, India is a developing country. It is not completely developed. So, what is the future of cosmetology in India?
I think the future of cosmetology is very, very huge because it is a developing country. If it was developed, it would have already grown to its full max and got saturated. Because it's a developing country, I think the society is also an aspirational society. And like I say, cosmetology is an aspirational medicine. So I think it's definitely on the growth. And it's really about getting quality care to the patients across.
See, it's better to grow.
Look him.
Yeah, look at the
Camera?
Yeah.
Both the side.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Is it better to grow old naturally or through Botox surgery? What do you want to comment on this?
What do you think? I mean, let me ask you back the question. If you had to grow old and then you had sagging, ugly skin, but then that person next to you was looking really great, wouldn't you be tempted?
Well, I would be definitely tempted, but then at times, if people have become expressionless mannequins, if you see the actresses opting for Botox, so somewhere or the other, I feel it is better to grow old naturally. And the other side, I feel no, you should still look beautiful. But what you have to see, like people have become expressionless mannequins.
You know, I think the question should.
Okay.
We hold it here. That's all right. Okay, so I'm Dr. Chaitra V. Anand, CEO and Chief Cosmetic Dermatologist at Cosmoderma Skin Laser and Hair Clinics. We're a Bangalore-based company with 7 clinics, 5 in Bangalore, 1 in Hyderabad and 1 in Chennai. What we have is a chain of clinics that offers you international accreditations, safe, affordable, standardized care in the cosmetology field, trichology and cosmetic surgery.
Good evening, ma'am. Well, my first question to you is, India is a developing country. So what is the future of cosmetology in India?
I think the future of cosmetology is potential vast and potential galore because this is a developing country, and wherever there's a development going on, there's obviously going to be a change in the whole society. Like this society, if we see, everybody talks about it as an aspirational society, and cosmetology is an aspirational medicine. So I think the growth is just vast, and with people changing, them getting more aware, them getting higher salaries, having more of a disposable income, they'll definitely see that there's new venues of spending, and everybody is getting aware not just of their health status, but also of themselves, the grooming and how they take care of themselves. So with that, cosmetology is the next big thing.
Okay. My second question to you is, like whether it is better to grow old naturally or through Botox surgery.
I'm going to ask you right back.
Well, I'm still confused. I mean, as a doctor, what would you suggest?
So I think it's more about aging gracefully. It's not really naturally or unnaturally, and there is nothing unnatural about cosmetology. I mean, let's talk about it. Yes, people get a lot scared when we talk about Botox because everybody has all of this bad negative vibe about it. It's just because that's what was covered in the media. But Botox is really a medicine, and we use it on children as young as 2 years old who have palsy, cerebral palsy or cervical dystonia, because it relaxes muscle. At the end of the day, Botox is nothing but a muscle relaxant. So it really is how well it's done. I know you're coming to me with about all these horrified pictures we see of people, all jobs gone bad and faces looking frozen, and now shark clips that we hear about, etc. But those are bad jobs. For every one bad job, there's at least 1,000 good jobs that gets done. But it's not just Botox cosmetology. You know, it's lasers, it's chemical peels, microdermabrasions, water infusions. That's also cosmetology. So it's just a science of beauty. So I think aging gracefully is more important than aging naturally. And aging naturally, come on, it's not realistic, is it?
Well, I want to ask you one more question regarding, see, cosmetology is very costly. Most of the people can't afford. Now, if you see people, acid attack victims or people who basically need it, generally they can't afford. So how do you think it would be made available to everyone?
So there's a lot of NGOs that we work with. Like Cosmoderma works with 2 NGOs in Bangalore. One is especially for domestic burn victims, and the other one is for acid victims. So where we treat them free of cost at our clinics. So I think it's a give back to the society. So yeah, cosmetology is expensive. The reason is the investment needed for those lasers. Some of those lasers are really expensive. So you know, that's why it's priced according to the machine that we use. But I think it's also a give back, and you'll see that a lot of doctors in our industry do similar work where they do free work for some poor patients and stuff like that. So that's one thing. But I think government hospitals should look into this and set up the departments. I mean, if you look at it, burn victims, we're not really good at treating burn victims because the trauma care needed, we don't have that specialized care in all our government hospitals. So it has to start at the base. And if the government gets into the program and they're able to rehabilitate these people and probably do like a private and a government partnership program, I think it'll be very accessible to all these victims.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to ask you one last question. Would you like to give us some tips regarding grooming and how to take care of yourself?
Okay, so the first thing I always tell everybody is you have to start using sunscreen. The reason is sunscreen is your best anti-aging medicine because 90% of the damage that you get in your skin is because of the radiation of the sun. It's not that you're out in the hot day sun, it's just radiation that comes through. So always, no matter how young you are, you could be 12, you could be 14, you could be 70 years old, but get with the sunscreen. Use a soap-free cleanser to wash your face because